I'm Darren Orff with Proper Mechanics.
And this is Anthony Verducci.
And we are talking about tech this week.
All right, what happened this week?
A lot of crazy stuff, actually, a lot of different stuff. The first thing I'm going to talk about is Google. It seems like Google's always in the news every week about something. I mean, I guess they are like the biggest tech company, so it makes sense.
Okay.
But what we're going to talk about first is earlier this week they acquired DeepMind Technologies.
And?
Well, DeepMind Technologies is a British artificial intelligence startup.
Right, Cyberdyne Systems.
Cyberdyne Systems, yeah, exactly. Their claim to fame as of right now is they developed this program, a computer, that basically watched people play Pong on an Atari 2600. Which I don't know why they picked that game. I guess because, you know, simple.
It's simple.
And it learned the rules by itself, and then it started beating the players.
Right, so it's a learning machine. It's a learning brain that actually understands and can beat us now.
Yes.
So they really are doing Cyberdyne.
Yes,
so they really are doing Terminator.
Yes, they are.
And that they also have Nest. So that's got to be all their kind of version of home automation and a robotics company.
Yeah, they got Boston Dynamics in December, I believe. So I think this is kind of going to be their brain for some of these tech acquisitions that they have. They might improve their search engine somehow.
Maybe.
They haven't really
I think
talked about.
It's got to be all for home automation. It sounds like it.
And for $400 million, I guess we're going to get something.
Yeah.
Something out of it.
So it's cheap for them.
Yeah. And then obviously the big news with Google this week is selling off Motorola Mobility to Lenovo.
Sure.
For $2.91 billion.
And then they buy it for like an enormous amount of money.
In 2011 they bought it for $12.5 billion. So at first you're like, wow, that's a massive amount. That's a huge loss. But is it really?
No, because they bought it just to get the patents, and it's great because they bought it to protect themselves from lawsuits because Android's free, so anybody could copy them. But they want to be able to copy others. So you copy me, I copy you, no lawsuits.
Right.
So that's probably why they did it. And now they're selling off the junk to Lenovo.
Oh,
no.
Okay.
They're selling off Motorola. And hopefully they keep Motorola. I actually was a big fan of the Motorola fan. My first phone out was Moto X, I think. It was great. And even the newer phones, you've tested them.
Yeah, the Moto G is a great, kind of developing market phone. It's cheap and it worked pretty well.
Yeah, and Lenovo still has the patents. They still have a license to the patents with them throughout the deal. So I guarantee the brand will still stay.
And it's a great deal for Lenovo, I think. I mean, they've been trying to get. They had the Vive Z, which was their first LTE.
Right, and this is an easy way to get into the phonosphere.
Yeah, exactly. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there.
Yeah, throwing their hat into the arena can't hurt them.
So moving on, the next thing we're going to talk about is wearable technologies. Kind of big news coming from Samsung with the Galaxy Gear 2 and Galaxy Glass. So let's talk about the Gear 2 first.
All right. So we're hoping that it's going to be sleeker, lighter, smaller, wearable because it's wraparound, maybe flexible. Yeah,
they mentioned that it is kind of going to be a radical redesign from what they released this year.
Which was just proof of technology.
Right. And they also said, it's interesting, that came out in September. The Galaxy Gear 2 is going to come out in March or April, most likely with the S5.
Yeah.
Which
the superphone.
Which makes sense. I mean, if you're going to release it, they had to deal with S4, let's do it with S5 as well. So that'll be interesting to see. Now, with the Galaxy Glass, that's not going to be, I don't think it's going to be announced until September at IFA, which is in Berlin. It's their big tech
and then
show.
we'll start seeing the rumor mills start to happen with what their idea of tech, wearable tech is.
Right. It'll be, they're saying it's like you get basic messaging and all this. It kind of sounds like
their counterpart
gear on your head.
Yeah.
So when it comes to like wearing, Google, like we'll talk about Google Glass in a second, but wearing these headsets, what is something that you would like to see these companies put in these
Well, first of all, before I see what is in it, it's got to look good. Because right now you don't really look so good. So it's got to get better. Then what I want to see in there is I want to see my notifications. I don't want to see a lot of emails. I want to see like a quick one shot. This person called you. Right back to this person when you get to work. And then obviously, hopefully some music going on, so you can actually get some fitness. And I think that's where Samsung's going to start hitting because of their gear and what they've got inside their phone. They went with all.
Well, some of their early designs on the Galaxy Glass, I don't think they're going to be solving the fashion problem with their first headset.
It's going to take a while.
But we'll just see what happens. And as I mentioned with Google Glass, they announced this week that prescription lenses will work with the device now. They released
I think
four.
they always had it.
I think
But I think
people
now you can order it from them
Mhm.
directly.
Google has made four titanium lenses.
Yep.
I think like one thing is like it has like a divot in it so that the glass can go in there.
Yeah.
Or maybe the sunglasses have
still,
those.
It's still not that attractive.
It looks a little bit better
When
it's attached to
It's-
like
it's-
actual glasses.
It's better, but I wear glasses. I know it takes a while to find something that fits your friend. And I saw what they did. It's okay.
Yeah. I mean,
we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
As it keeps going. It's still $1,500 plus my prescription.
Which is, I think, the lenses are $225. So it's like
so we're
you
talking
keep adding on.
$2,000 to walk around with these things on my face.
I mean, it'll be interesting. Like they obviously need to address that problem. I mean, I know they're saying like, oh well, you know, headphones are these weird devices you put on your head, and
Yeah,
like
not really.
that's fine. I'm like, I'm not following that argument as much.
No, not really. And I can't go anywhere with them if I'm going out in any multimedia fashion, so I'm not going to the movies
Yeah,
with them.
I think Google Glass is 5 hours of battery life.
Yeah.
So what you got to keep your other glasses with you when you're going
Yeah.
around. They got some problems, but
Yeah, they'll work it out.
it's interesting to see that they're still really pushing for it. And then the last thing is didn't really hit huge news, but that South Korea is going to be investing, I think, close to 1.5 billion in equivalent to U.S. dollars, in 5G internet,
Which is blazingly fast.
will download
What's the numbers?
800 megabytes in a second.
So basically, pirating the world.
You could pirate. I mean, I think 4G can do that same amount in 40 seconds. So you're talking incredibly fast speeds. They're going to be trialing it in 2017, and I think it's going to be for use in 2020.
So we'll be able to get streaming 4K, high def videos on the fly. No more buffering.
No more buffering.
No.
No.
So the U.S. will see that in 20 years from now.
Right. Exactly. I know a lot of people in the office have been joking about, well, let's just move to South Korea. This is going to be
sound
awesome for people in tech to have that blazing fast internet. We're not going to get anywhere near that anytime soon.
No.
We will continue to feud, and Comcast will continue to be
Right,
frustrating.
and I'll keep having my buffering as I travel on the train, and I won't be able to watch my movies. But South Korea, they'll get
If
all
you're
of it.
living in South Korea,
Good for you.
you're the lucky one. So that's going to do it for us this week.
Yeah,
Come back next week where we talk about more about tech.
See you next week.
Yeah,